Hello there, everyone. This is part 2 of a duo of videos about liberalism. It would be recommended that you watch the first part before this one, as that one deals with the general history of liberalism, but it isn't necessary. For this one, we're going to talk about the different schools of thought within liberalism, beginning with the oldest, classical liberalism. Let's begin with its history. Classical liberalism has its earliest origins in the 18th century, among writers such as Adam Smith, John Locke, and other important people during the Enlightenment. The country it would be first practiced in would be Britain, where classical liberalism would ultimately rise, primarily due to the Glorious Revolution, which would be set in England and ultimately set up the UK down a path of constitutional monarchy and put the Whigs in power, which, to make a long story short, led to classical liberalism to rise in the country as it began to slowly embrace liberal ideas over the centuries, leading to better civil rights in Britain, as well as many other things. Classical liberalism also had a massive impact on the United States due to its influence on many founding fathers, such as Thomas Jefferson, who, when writing the Constitution, based some parts of it on the work of Locke. The United States was also influenced economically by the ideology, which leads me to explaining what classical liberalism was all about, which was freedom of the individual and a free economy. Classical liberalism seeks overall to ensure that the powers of the government cannot interfere with the lives of the people, at least not very much, as they do want civil liberties to be protected by the law. The second most important thing to classical liberalism is the economy, which was based on the works of Adam Smith and others, which focuses more on economic liberalism, which means little government intervention in the economy and free trade, with it being believed that with this approach, it would ultimately be beneficial to the people as a whole. The next school of thought disagrees with that and many other parts of classical liberalism, and that school of thought is social liberalism. Social liberalism begins in the late 19th century among many countries in the West, particularly in Great Britain, it came about to deal with the concerns of the working conditions of the average person and poverty, and seeks to deal with the problem in a more peaceful way than their socialist counterparts. Many of the people whose ideas proved crucial to social liberalism, such as Thomas Hill Green, believed that the government may need more power to ensure that the people live under favorable circumstances. After all, how can freedom and individuality flourish when many people are destitute? While they didn't intend for this to happen, many of the policies of the proto-social liberals would lead to the modern welfare states of modern Europe. Social liberalism would ultimately earn its name in the United States, though the term originally came from Germany. In the United States, the term would grow popular due to the New Deal, which was created to deal with the Depression, which incorporated some ideas from social liberalism. Nowadays, the term is in common use when referring to liberalism in America. There is more to social liberalism, but for now, let's focus on what exactly it wants, which, simplified, is the protection of the common good so that an individual can have more freedom, and they are more willing to allow the government to interfere if it means an individual will have better rights and more autonomy, since they would have less worries about poverty, infrastructure, education, and the like. The final current of liberalism that I am going to talk about today is economically opposed to social liberalism, as well as being opposed in many other ways, and that current is neoliberalism. And much like its brother, it came out of classical liberalism, with the neos in particular being more focused and loyal to the works of Adam Smith and economic liberalism, which would prove crucial to the current's foundations. The current would not see the light of day until after World War II, and particularly not until the 70s, due to economic issues that would grip the world. After the economic problems of the 70s, neoliberalism would spread to many countries, two examples being the United States and the United Kingdom, where under the conservative leaders Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, neoliberalism began to flourish as they enacted neoliberal policies that would be continued by their successors, that opened up their countries to less regulation, freer markets, and globalization, along with the rise of the private sector. This current is still the dominant current in much of the world today, but due to many problems ranging from the 2008 financial crash to COVID, this current seems to be entering its twilight years. To end, what neoliberalism seeks to achieve primarily is economic freedom, with the government having little power to intervene and little power to spend money so that the private sector can grow and expand. Now, there is so much more to talk about when it comes to this current and the others as well as some currents that I didn't get to talk about, but hopefully I will get to them one day. But for now, I hope you liked the video, and farewell, dear viewers.